For family and friends of Anita Ward, this section of Rawson Avenue at Curry will forever remind them of theirs and the area's great loss.
People just don't realise the work that she put in and the amount of hours that was put in out of her time.
18 months ago, Anita Ward helped set up On Wings of Eagles, an organisation that helps mildly intellectually disabled adults who are often ineligible for government assistance go on shopping trips and even holidays. Flowers marked the roadside where the grandmother was hit by a four-wheel drive while on her morning walk yesterday. And while news of her death has devastated Curry's close-knit community, it's unlikely her selfless hard work will be forgotten.
She loved people, she wanted to help people. Anybody who needed help could go to her. She was just a very wonderful lady who had a wonderful big heart and helped a lot of people. Our members from our service all adored her. Everybody who worked with her loved her. And she will be very sadly missed.
Colin Robinson, NBN News.
Broadmeadow is better known for its miserly defence than scintillating attack, but they burst out of the blocks against Edgeworth with a great cross from Mitchell Wallace leading to the first goal. Steve Kasev with the magic touch, but any goal like this is worth a second look. The bicycle kick finish at home on any highlight reel. Kasev followed by finding room for Scott Maguire, who launched a left foot rocket. After a bad run of injuries, Maguire's lethal boot is back at the right time for Broadmeadow, while Craig Carter had a handle on things at the back, with some timely saves against the best attackers in the league. Little went Edgeworth's way in the first half, while the Magic could well have led by 3 save for Dean Conway's good work. Forced to play catch-up, the Eagles just couldn't find a way through Broadmeadow's defence. One of few genuine chances came late in the game after an accidental handball set up Peter Junknowitz from the spot. The attempt summing up Edgeworth's day as goalkeeper Carter pointed out just who's through to the decider.
The owner of this TV repair business on Cowper Street was called to his shop about 20 to 6 this morning to find it partially destroyed.
It's an old sort of wood and it's just completely ripped apart the whole front of the shop. So not just my doors, but all of the shop front as well, right up and past the sign as well.
On the weekend, the shop's anti-ram raid bar was stolen. Today, the thieves backed a utility through the doors, leaving part of the ute tray behind, and stole 4 of these digital television set-top boxes.
They are an expensive item. They're about $600 for a box, and they are quite rare. It's hard to find them anywhere in Newcastle sort of region. They're sort of hard to find unless you go to Sydney or Queensland, that sort of thing.
The boxes are useless without these encryption cards, which were stored separately. Luke's security camera was on, but he says the tape ran out just minutes before the raid. Some nearby residents heard the noise, but said they thought nothing of it. People in the suburbs say crime is steadily getting worse since the local police station closed down almost 2 years ago.
And we're forever thinking of security and trying to do stuff, And we thought there's no way they'll get in unless they do a ram raid, and that's what they've done.
Paul Lobb, NBN News. When it comes to accidents in the surf, helicopters and now jet skis can mean the difference between life and death. Today, council lifeguards trained with Hunter Westpac rescue helicopter crews to ensure they're up with the latest rescue techniques for this summer. Adding to the year-round lifeguard service at Nobbies and Bar Beaches, lifeguards will soon be on duty at Stockton, Newcastle, Dixon Park and Merewether.
Next Monday we've got the commencement of the season and all 6 council beaches will be patrolled between the hours of 9 and 5:30.
The basic rule is to swim between the flags and to listen to the advice given by lifeguards. Council pools, too, are coming back online.
Inland pools at the moment, we've got Lambton Pool which opened last Saturday. The water's a nice 25 degrees Celsius and the remaining pools will open September the 27th.
Paul Lobb, NBN News.
Nothing like a win to boost the confidence after losing you-know-who for the season. But after results at the weekend, the Knights have gone from talking about reaching the semis to just how high can they finish in the top 8.
We still are coming 8th on the for and against, but there's 4 teams on 28 points, so we can come 4th or 5th.
The team's new halfback had a night to remember against the Warriors, filling in for Andrew Johns with a man-of-the-match performance. Coming on the back of a great pack performance, it's been tempered by a hamstring injury concern to Matt Parsons. He'll be given the week to prove his fitness. While Tamana Tahu is showing signs that a return isn't far away, it could well be this weekend that Andrew Price and Adam Woolnough return to the top grade after their respective injuries. But the whole team wants to keep improving. United, after the loss of their captain, the side proved they can win a game without him. They'd prefer a premiership.
Can't just live off that one game there without Joey, so we've got 3 games to go to a semi, so we've got to start kicking up again now.
Far from kicking up a fuss, referees boss Robert Finch will still be calling Michael Hagan this week in a bid to tone down his new captain. Jim Callanan, NBN News.
As the residential unit juggernaut has proved in recent years, there's only one way for development in the heart of Newcastle, and that's up. However, the issue of building heights has dogged the inner city for years. Newcastle Council staff now believe their updated three-dimensional computer model to assess development applications could nip debate in the bud.
In terms of the shadow analysis, view corridors for the development, and hopefully making that decision process quicker and more objective.
And the idea of using the 3D model already has support from the Institute of Architects.
We've gotten some feedback from industry just to make sure we're on the right track, and they're prepared to support that concept.
Developers will have to pay to buy a virtual chunk of the surrounding area for their project. However, they'll be able to do the design work with the knowledge of restraints on the location.
For example, if there's height limitations, we're able to put a height envelope on it so that basically developers can abide by that DCP.
Success of the Newcastle trial could see the model expanded to include Hamilton and Mayfield. Gary Blair, NBN News.
It's an issue that today brought together experts, lobbyists and politicians in Newcastle, all searching for sobering solutions to what appears to be an alcohol epidemic.
Well, I think there's a higher prevalence of alcohol misuse in the Hunter than other regions, and that's because we've had so many problems to deal with in the past 2 decades.
The Samaritans say current strategies simply aren't enough and it's time for the government to get tough.
Banning sponsorship of sporting events by alcohol companies and eliminating alcohol from sporting fixtures and really controlling the sale of alcohol.
The Welfare Agency also wants a greater focus on youth, a point reinforced by student delegates to the Alcohol Summit.
Maybe 95% would at least experiment at one point or another, whether it's at a party or at home with parents. Most people have tried it.
It can't be stopped. I think it can be helped. I think we need to sort of control it more than stop it.
Everyone agrees more must be done, but there have been some local successes. Among them, a project which has helped police target problematic licensed premises.
We've identified 10% of premises account for 50% of the people who have consumed alcohol on licensed premises being involved in crime.
Ideas from today's meeting will be taken to a state summit next week. Natasha Bayersdorf, NBN News.
Quite nervous, but I guess by putting ourselves in the spotlight, we really are getting behind it.
It's not something I like to do, is put a dollar value on myself in front of a bunch of people, but there again, we're here for the cause, so.
Wins against 2 visiting American college sides was a good way to start their pre-season, but the Hunter Pirates know their real test begins this weekend. Playing in a round-robin style tournament against fellow NBL sides, the West Sydney Razorbacks and the New Zealand Breakers, the Pirates, who are still without 2 import players and Kiwi rep Miles Pearce, will get to gauge their level of depth for their debut season.
The stronger our Australian content can be, we don't want to have to rely on our imports. So it's good that we're getting these opportunities now before they arrive.
The Pirates will play the Razorbacks tonight and meet the Breakers on Sunday. Meanwhile, Cessnock is hoping to turn a poor finals football record around tomorrow in the minor semi-final against Lakes United. On Sunday, West and Terrace do battle for a spot at Newcastle Rugby League's decider. Finals time too in Newcastle Premier Rugby Union means action returns to the Garden Sporting Complex with Wanderers and the Waratahs head-to-head tomorrow, while the season is on the line for Uni and Hamilton on Sunday. That's the same day Edgeworth will take on Western in NBN Soccer League's preliminary final for the right to play Broadmeadow in the grand final.
They're the stubborn neighbours Singleton residents would rather do without. These bundles of grey have hung up their coats at Burdekin Park despite concerted efforts to send them packing. Blasts of noise, light and even water have proved fruitless, the colony of 150 nocturnal natives still calling these trees home. Singleton Council officers have hung their heads in disbelief.
It's been quite an effort to try and get a result, and unfortunately we got the bats out of the park. But when we had to stop, they came back.
The pint-sized creatures have been blamed for damaging the park's trees, among other unpleasant things.
We have problems with bat faeces falling on pathways and people walking on those pathways below. We've had problems with bat faeces falling on park furniture.
Council has spent $27,000 trying to scare the bats away. Efforts, Mr Fletcher says, have done little more than create a domino effect of problems. A crane used to implement a sound deterrent system has ripped ground apart at the park.
Making matters worse, a licence issued by the National Parks and Wildlife Service has expired, preventing Council from using any of its deterrent systems.
A resolution to implement no further relocation attempts will be put to a full council meeting on Monday night. Colleen West, NBN News.
Pensioners pulling up at the side of the road and giving us $10, kids pulling over and giving us $5, and it's just been fantastic.
Some of the nation's best medical minds gathered in Newcastle last night to see the award for outstanding research go to Professor Peter Gibson. As well as working full-time, he's published 163 papers in 13 years, focusing mainly on asthma, and is one of Australia's leading experts on the disease. The Young Medical Researcher of the Year is Dr. Amanda Baker, who has investigated the role drugs and alcohol play in mental disorders. Professor Alan Spiegelman won the award for outstanding achievements in cancer research. He started the Hunter Family Cancer Service that initially catered for 8 families and now forms a network of 600 family groups throughout the state. Grants totalling $150,000 were also awarded for medical research. Also held last night, the New South Wales Training Awards in Sydney. Home economics teacher from Singleton High School, Tracy Holloway, won the award for vocational training in schools.
Especially working in Singleton High, I think being country kids, all our students sort of always try to strive for their best at all times.
Electrician Naomi Cathcart from Muswellbrook was named Business Apprentice of the Year, while Rochelle Ellis from Wyong took the award for the Best Vocational Student.
We always seem to get caught up in this every year with the Saints, and it's just every game when we play against the St George Illawarra, they come out fired up, and it's always a good game.
Advancing on the back of a draw last weekend, University knew anything but a win would end its premiership hopes. A well-worked line-out and drive set up the perfect start. Paul Smith left with little to do. After grinding away downfield, scrum half Aaron Thompson linked with his brother Graham, and the two Blues were level. With a helping hand both on the ground and in the air, Anthony Foster kicked them 3 points clear. Uni coach Tony Hogg wanted his side to starve Wanderers of the ball. The students proved quick learners. After 6 phases of play, they tested the two Blues' edges, with John Cannon shooting past out wide. 10-8 up, Uni took that lead to the break, but only after some desperate defence, including holding Wanderers up over the line on the stroke of half-time after they opted against a kickable penalty. Uni didn't knock back any opportunity. Mark Gardner kicked 2 more penalties after the break, as the Wanderers game fell apart. The students made sure of it, winning in style, Paul Smith crossing on the bell for a double, and didn't they enjoy it? Almost as much as their supporters, as Uni advanced to its first grand final since 1993.
The ambulance vehicle was ransacked last night at Mayfield, where it had been parked at a private residence. Thieves making off with anything that wasn't tied down, and even some items that were. Of most concern is the theft of drugs from an ambulance kit. The bag was found dumped on a street, but a large quantity of powerful medications, including adrenaline, were gone.
There's a large variety of drugs that were taken, and in the wrong hands it could be fatal.
The service has appealed for the drugs to be returned, along with other valuable equipment. The vehicle had just returned from a charity safari and was fully outfitted with portable radios, GPS units and 4 satellite phones, all now missing.
And give the equipment back, we really do need it, and it really will be missed, and it's not easy to come by.
The equipment won't easily be replaced, costing tens of thousands of dollars. Natasha Bayersdorf, NBN News.
The convoy frontrunners celebrating 100 years of Ford motoring started rolling along the Pacific Highway through Newcastle's outer suburbs shortly after midday. Today was the first leg of a 2-week adventure, heading north to Brisbane, then back to Sydney via the New England Highway, raising money for Camp Quality.
It is a long trip, 16 days. A normal car would probably do it in 2 or 3.
The oldest member of the fleet was made in 1911, reaching speeds of 70 kilometres per hour, testing the patience of its owners and other drivers sharing the road.
90% of people are okay, they understand. We don't have many problems, no.
Adam McKilrick, NBN News.
It's a green oasis within a school jungle, and it's the pride of students. This is the heart of the Holy Family School's successful land care program, a small courtyard where students nurture their precious plants.
I'm picking lerp, which are they're little bugs that eat
Well, they live on the plant.
With only a small school site, program coordinators have looked outside for an end use for the plants.
They pot up plants. All these plants then go out into the community, so they can see right from when they put the seed in to where the plant, how it grows and where we're going to put it.
Meriwether Beach is just one location to benefit from the students' green ambition.
I've been pretty surprised at how easy they are to grow. We just pot them up and then just water them daily and they just grow themselves.
The school is now in the running for a National Landcare Award. Natasha Bayersdorf, NBN News. The Lord Mayor has gone public with the latest chapter in the sexual misconduct row, revealing a letter written to him by Hans Toll in which the councillor criticises his handling of the case. Councillor Toll was investigated 2 months ago over complaints made by 5 female council staff and later agreed to apologise.
And now he questions the process, which really takes all the value away from those apologies, and I don't believe that's acceptable.
The letter, stamped confidential, was distributed to other city councillors last night, expressing Councillor Toll's intentions to refer the matter to the Ombudsman and the local government minister. While the Lord Mayor wants the issue aired openly, Councillor Toll wasn't keen today to speak publicly, saying only that he's very disappointed with Councillor Tate's handling of the whole affair and that he's seeking legal advice. John Tate welcomes the scrutiny, saying he's confident he's done nothing wrong.
If the Ombudsman comes back and says the process was wrong, the only option for me is to resign from office.
But if he's cleared, the Lord Mayor says Councillor Torres should resign. Natasha Bayersdorf, NBN News. It's a prized position and an iconic building back from near ruins.
The White Ants were sort of holding hands, keeping half of it together, and I think the concrete cancer was just about to fall in on itself.
The Cooks Hill Surf Club has undergone a 5-month revamp. Funded largely by Newcastle Council, the state government and surf club itself also pitched in for the $500,000 renovation, which will be complete within weeks. It features a new function area, which will be hired out to help secure the club's financial future.
Obviously still going to be out chasing those sponsorship dollars, but I think it'll give us a chance to be a little bit more self-sufficient.
Meantime, further down the beach, council moves to demolish the old Merriweather surf house remain stalled. The State Heritage Office is continuing its investigations to report back by the end of the year. Natasha Bayersdorf, NBN News. You'd be hard-pressed to squeeze the award-winning recipe from Bub's Fish and Chip Shop owner Bob Monin. But one ingredient he has divulged: good customer service.
As staff, we work hard and you know, we like what we do.
The Nelson Bay Takeaway named the best fish and chip shop in regional New South Wales. The secret fish batter recipe has been refined over the past 4 years and is sure to awaken the senses of even the finest fish connoisseur. Meanwhile, the world certainly is the oyster of Port Stephens man Jeff Sharp. At the end of the month, the Top Gun oyster shucker heads to Ireland, where he's hoping to shuck his way into the record books at the World Championships.
And it's not that easy when you've got a heap of people standing in front of you all watching, but I'll get it this year.
Colleen West, NBN News. These fighter pilots are about to embark on a military exercise alarmingly close to real warfare. 11 FA-18 Hornets and their aircrew today farewelled the Williamtown RAF base bound for Townsville. From tomorrow morning they'll embark on a series of simulated fighter missions and duties aimed at supporting their brothers and coalition forces on the ground and at sea.
This is really important. It's an opportunity to practice with our major ally. It's also an opportunity for each of the services and the US forces to practice the high-end warfighting activities that we don't get to practice on a day-to-day basis.
It will be a rare opportunity for Army, Navy and Air Force personnel to train side by side while armed with live ammunition.
We'll be dropping high explosive bombs as part of the exercise on HE ranges in Shoalwater Bay.
The multi-million-dollar task will involve more than 10,000 personnel, including intelligence support, maintenance workers and a team of operation commanders that will be based at Williamtown. It's here the mock battles will be directed and our armed forces warned of impending danger. It's hoped Operation Crocodile 3 will sharpen the operational capabilities of the men and women who may one day put their lives at risk for their country. Colleen West, NBN News.
According to Clubs New South Wales, the increased tax on poker machines is simply not sustainable. It says not only will 1/3 of local clubs close, but thousands of jobs will also be lost.
What we're asking for the Treasury and the government to do is to have a discussion with us, a review of the tax, so that they can come up with a tax that is sustainable. In that way, it will be a win for the government, a win for the clubs.
Clubs New South Wales met with businesses, sporting groups and charitable organisations today to explain how they'll be affected by the increased taxes. The industry body has also commissioned its own socio-economic study.
The Newcastle clubs have engaged a local firm, a Newcastle-based firm, to conduct a study for them to give them a quicker indication of the real impact.
Clubs New South Wales says over the next 7 years, the state government will pocket $130 million in additional tax from clubs in 8 local electorates. At this stage, the increased tax will be in place by the middle of next year. Lyndall Derrick, NBN News.
The stage is set at the Newcastle Entertainment Centre for the first night of Hunter Harvest. All are welcome over the next 4 nights for a cross between a church service and a rock concert.
It's all about introducing people to who Jesus Christ is. I think a lot of people have sort of an aversion to organized religion, and this is not at all about that.
Top Christian performers will be on stage each night, along with Californian pastor Greg Laurie.
So this is an event for seekers, for skeptics, for agnostics, even for atheists. Not that it's not for Christians too, but this is the kind of event for a person to come to who has a lot of questions about faith or even about life in general.
The event gets underway tonight at 7:30.
Cardiac disease is still Australia's biggest killer, and when someone goes into cardiac arrest, every second counts. When a heart stops beating in a proper rhythm, it cannot be started again by CPR. That's where a device known as a defibrillator can play a crucial role. The sooner it is used to shock the heart, the more likely the chance of survival.
If that is done very soon after the abnormal rhythm develops, virtually everyone lives. If it's delayed for 10 minutes or more, virtually everyone dies.
Defibrillators have been used by paramedics for years, but the NBN Project Restart aims to increase awareness of new low-cost foolproof devices that could one day be as available as fire extinguishers. Newcastle's Western Suburbs Leagues Club has taken the lead in the club industry by installing a public access defibrillator. With around 65% of the club's members over the age of 55, having a defibrillator on hand makes good sense.
It really, if a layperson was to pick it up, as soon as they switch the machine on, it tells them what to do. It tells them how to administer CPR, tells them where to place the pads.
NBN Project Restart has the support of ambulance personnel as well as leading Australian cardiologist Professor Michael O'Rourke. He says the devices cannot harm anyone as they won't shock the heart if it's beating okay.
If the normal rhythm is present, it just will not activate at all.
Presently, the devices cost between $3,000 and $4,000. Lyndall Derrick, NBN News.
These are the sounds that have farewelled servicemen and women from Singleton since the Boer War. The town band has stood the test of time, 125 years to be exact, and today the local community and New South Wales Governor Marie Bashir paid tribute to the band's success. It was on this day in 1878 that the grandson of Benjamin Singleton, who founded the town, established the brass band to provide entertainment for the isolated community. Band member numbers have grown from 16 to 40 since then, and now boast musicians as young as 11.
Every year we get new players come through the band, and their enthusiasm to want to play music is just terrific to see.
A love of music and socialising drew Brian Krebit and his trusty tuba to the band 55 years ago. Among his fondest memories with the band, featuring in the 1988 hit movie Young Einstein.
We played Waltzing Matilda about 100 times, I suppose, and marched up a hill that many times we just knocked up.
The band, which is now the longest-serving non-military band in Australia, will continue celebrating tonight at a concert at the Civic Centre. Colleen West, NBN News.
Smoke continued to dominate the skyline today as fires consumed the foothills of Mount Sugarloaf. Winds of 40 kilometres an hour gusting to 60 k's, gradually pushing flames toward the summit. The combination of wind and terrain has made life extremely difficult for fire crews.
We can't backburn, unfortunately, under these conditions. It's unsafe for that, and the crews have just got to be there on the job all the time, 24 hours a day, until we get the thing contained.
Mount Sugarloaf's popular picnic areas are part of the 100 hectares already blackened by an outbreak the Rural Fire Service hopes will get residents to prepare for the impending bushfire season.
And if people take basic precautions in cleaning their property up, they'll lessen the likelihood of experiencing a fire in their property.
How the Mount Sugarloaf outbreak started is already being examined by specialist RFS investigators. One point the Mount Sugarloaf blaze has highlighted, according to bushfire experts, is the hunters' urgent need for up to 200 millimetres of rain. While the Rural Fire Service, state forests and national parks have conducted hazard reduction burn-offs and more are planned over coming weeks, rain will be the key to averting another potentially dangerous bushfire season. Gary Blair, NBN News.
Newcastle City ran out knowing they could ill afford another poor start. But two Philip Jauncey goals soon had them thinking a big chase was on the cards. But Blues skipper Jason Kalupis soon had his team back on track with an effort that would help him win the McBain medal for best on ground. It was just the thing, the Blues booting another 8 unanswered majors to streak away. When Scott Rawls slotted his major in the second term, City held a 44-point buffer. Looking for back-to-back flags, the Hawks clawed their way within reach. But the Blues were potting them from everywhere. Courtney Knight kicking 4. So too Martin Dineen in the 6-goal win. Newcastle far from singing the blues with the Black Diamond Cup back in its keeping. Soaking up that winning feeling today, United was able to kick back for the first time as winners after a trip to Auckland. Captain Robbie Middleby wishes he'd been with the team and is no certainty to return this week.
Yeah, I think Robbie's sort of a 50-50. He tried to do some running yesterday and he's still feeling some pain in the back of the ankle there.
Fijian international Asala Massi gave United the perfect start, a fraction over 18 minutes into the match, with a driving shot past the keeper.
And what a clinical finish that was.
Jobe Wheelhouse tapped in for a simple-looking second after the ball teased Kings defenders. But it was the youngsters' play in the midfield along with Mitchell Johnson that really pleased the coach.
Jobe Wheelhouse and Mitchell Johnson have played against, all whites captain in the boy Jackson, and it's a bit of a hardy character to say the least, and he put himself about, but both of them sort of stepped up. And
he couldn't hide his pride in the way the team has come together, with the feeling in a new look camp only positive.
People talk about team spirit, and we've always had a good team spirit here, but nothing makes for good team spirit like winning a game.
They were built in the 1950s. However, after 47 years of service, these Jesmond High School classrooms are being demolished for the $17 million overhaul of the Callaghan College senior campus. While this part of the school's history is off to the recyclers, Principal Ian Neighbour accepts some in the community are sad to see it go.
That there is a sentimental part to the whole improvement for Callaghan College Jesmond, the Jesmond High School and Jesmond University High School. That history of those two entities is something that we want to build on.
The campus's sports oval is now home to a temporary school. A total of 42 classrooms moved in to allow Year 11 and 12 students to continue their education. Silver City, as the demountables are dubbed, even have some students singing about their new accommodation. Despite the building work, as far as teachers and students are concerned, it's business as usual.
And at the end of the day, we all agree that it's the teaching that takes place that's important in the classrooms and not necessarily what's going on around us.
The upgrade is expected to be completed during 2005. Gary Blair, NBN News. Hot northwesterly winds blew sun lovers to Newcastle's beaches as the mercury pushed past the 30-degree mark. New top temperatures for the first month of spring were set when Cessnock reached 35 degrees and Scone notched up 33. The harshest jump was in Newcastle this afternoon when the mercury leapt from 20 to 32 degrees in the space of an hour.
Late last week, northern New South Wales looked like it was no more as Soccer Australia unveiled plans to radically restructure the way the game is run. However, talks today with key administrators, including Chairman Frank Lowy, have heartened northern officials.
We are on a level playing field. We are confident and we believe that our chances are very good of just maintaining our position.
Put simply, the Federation has been included in the 90-day consultation process, along with other state members, as the game is restructured in reference to the Crawford Report recommendations.
The first meeting today was very fruitful because we were able to put forward many of the things that soccer, Northern New South Wales has done for soccer in Australia, and Mr Lowe was most generous in his praise of what we have done.
Further meetings will be held next week.
After a somewhat relaxed start, it took a former Sydney King to open the Pirates' account. The NBL's newest franchise matched the Tigers in the first term, spearheaded by Pirates captain Brendan Mann. But the Tigers showed no sentiment, with Andrew Gaze out to spoil a Newcastle party. Raking up 14 points over the four terms, Kevin Brooks made sure the Pirates went into the halftime break trailing by 7. But things crumbled for the debutants in the second half, starting when Michael Kingma finished second best in the tip-off. A Titanic-style clash saw Melbourne skip away with the lead, but the Tigers were soon back on the defensive, with the Pirates fighting to the end. Just seconds away from their first win of the season, a Melbourne rookie made sure after-match celebrations were going to be shared. Beaten by 28 points, it wasn't quite the fairy tale the Pirates were hoping for, but they received some encouraging words from one of the game's greats.
They're going to take some time. They've started from scratch, got a lot of new players, so it'll take some time for them to build, but certainly a good turnout and good for the region.
Adam McKilrick, NBN News.